Summit push. Why isn't there wind? I'm at 18,500 feet in the sky. Why isn't the air moving? Ah! Wow! Look at that crater. Ugh. Woo! This is the summit block. Yeah, Colorado!
Yeah. Oh my god!
Ow! Orizaba!
Nice job.
Look at that crater.
Fuck, that is so cool.
Hey, just passing Camp 2. This is Camp 2 on Pico de Orizaba North Route. And climatizing today. And I'm gonna go back down. I'm about 15,800 feet right now. To my surprise, there's only one other team when I got to the hut, and so 3 Mexican climbers, and they were all 3 planning on using ice pitons, which is a good sign. So I was stoked to go with them, but their only summit day was today, versus for me, I still had to acclimatize and everything, and I figured I'd give it a shot, but likely I'd have to turn around. And sure enough, you know, by the time midnight came, which was when we were gonna get up, I had a really bad headache. I threw up a couple times, so it was clear that I needed to descend pretty quickly and not climb up this huge thing. But yeah, so I went down only like 800 vertical feet and came back up, and I was totally fine. So they came back around 10 a.m. and they didn't make it. They said the ice was just way too hard, way too fragile. You strike into it with an axe and it breaks. And so three person team with good equipment and more experience than I didn't make it on this ice. So I'm not expecting to solo this thing. I'm gonna go back down, get to sleep by like 5 or 6 p.m. Wake up at midnight and try to do I mean, it's not even a summit attempt. I'm gonna go up to the glacier. I'm gonna see how the ice is and see if this fog that's rolling in has turned into any snow up high, on the off chance that it's turned into some good consolidated snow. But you know, 99% chance I'm just gonna, you know, strike into fragile ice, decide that it's not safe, and come back down. And then I'm gonna try to pack up, get back to Hidalgo and Tlaxcala on foot before my 4x4 comes, so that I can save a day and see if I pay them enough money, if they'll drive me to the south route, if they even know where that is. It's a little bit far to get there, so I'm hoping they're okay with it, but we'll see. So anyway, head hurts a little bit now on this climatization hike, so I think I'm probably gonna go back down to base camp at 14,000. Hey, back at base camp. I moved into the smaller 2 huts. Casa Pequeña. That's the bigger one over there. It's like holds like 20 or 30 people. There's like 10 people in there now. Moved into the smaller one because while I was up there, 4 ultra runners met up with me, and they said they're gonna be waking up at like 5 a.m., which is pretty hecka late. So moved into the smaller, the empty hut, and that way they don't have to whisper for like 6 hours. But anyway, these ultra runners, you know, whenever you see people on mountains who have no equipment, it's always either one of 2 things. It's either they're in way over their heads and they're about to die, or they're super experienced and just go fast and light and make up for the lack of equipment with experience and skills. I'm really hoping it's the latter of the two. Regardless of what happens, my summit chances just went up quite a bit. It's been clearing up here and there, and when the cloud is cleared, it looks like the clouds have dropped some fresh snow. And if that's the case, then that could potentially be consolidated and really help with ice conditions. So yeah, I think we're both gonna get to the glacier around the same time. Maybe I will just a little bit before them because they're, I have a 5-hour head start, but they're ultra runners. So, but yeah, I'm a little worried for their safety because they don't have any ropes or things to rope into or anything like that. And Orizaba this year is not like years past. You can't just slide and self-arrest. The ice is so fragile that if you self-arrest, it won't stop you, and you need to be roped to an anchor. So they don't seem to fully believe me, but so I'm taking all this stuff, those screws and draws and slings and I was hoping to just find someone else or some other team who'd be willing to also do it in that fashion. But yeah, I tried to tell them about this team of 3 Mexican climbers who just left that, tried it even more legitimately than I was trying to, and they didn't make it. So, thinking best case scenario, these guys end up being ridiculously skilled, and I follow in their footsteps and summit with them. Worst case scenario, we all turn around at the foot of the glacier, or that might even be best case scenario. And they fly home the 30th. I fly home the 2nd, so I have a lot more time, so I can probably hitch a ride back down with them, save my legs, get to Tlachuca, and, pay them whatever it takes for Hotel Herrar to drive me to the south route. So, anyway, in here for tonight, this tiny little hut, and it's gorgeous. I'm glad I have more company. Cheers! Just got dark. It's like almost 7 o'clock. Ton of people showed up. There's like 15 people in the main hut now. So I think it's like a miracle that I'm the only one in the small hut. Thank God. Had dinner and got to hang out with the runners at base camp. They're all 30 plus. And one of them talked with me for a while, and he let me know that this is his first time on ice. And thankfully in the same sentence he said he's, fully expecting to turn around at the foot of the glacier. So thank God that, that they're not, seeing this with rosy lenses, because it's not going to be easy up there. But there's a number of other Mexican climbers that showed up as well, and I'm not sure where they're at experience-wise. It didn't look like any of them had ropes or harnesses. And I don't know if it was a guide service or what, but there was one guy teaching like 5 or 6 people how to self-arrest in the dirt. And I mean, it's not that he was teaching bad, it's just like, if anyone's learning for the first time how to self-arrest, they should not be on Pico de Orizaba, and they definitely shouldn't be there this year, of all years. Because all the skills that he was teaching are not going to work up there on this ice this year. It's just too hard. And I don't know if that's what some of the guide services sometimes do, is they'll like, to draw you in, to make you pay, they're like, oh yeah, we can give it a shot, with full knowledge that you will not summit. Like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And then they're like train you on all the things that would normally work, and they take you up as far as they can go without, putting your life at risk. And then they're like, oh yeah, I guess this is just too hard. We're just gonna have to go down. And, since you got most of the way up the mountain, they get their full pay out of it. Whereas, of course, they're not gonna like at the base be like, no, you can't summit right now. They'll just not get their payday. So I don't know if that's what this guy's doing, or if he just legitimately doesn't know what the conditions are like right now. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully everyone stays safe first and foremost. And if someone gets a summit in, man, I'd love to be there. Cheers. What's up? Just got up, finished the whole, dreaded getting out of your sleeping bag and getting dressed thing in the freezing cold. Feeling good, feeling focused. I ended up sleeping in super long because I decided it was kind of dumb for me to just be waiting at the glacier for everyone else to get there for like hours. And it'd be better for me to just, use that time to get better sleep. So I slept until like 3 a.m. So it's about 3 now. And it sounds heck of windy outside, which I'm a little worried about, because that would suck if, best best Northside Summit day ended up being like a shutout because of the weather. But oh well, we'll give it a shot still. Having a dope breakfast of Lala Mexican yogurt, super good. Anyway, hopefully it's not too freezing out there. I'm gonna dress for the worst, hope for the best. Cheers. Struggle busing up this volcano. Ugh. Volcanoes are just the worst. They're just like built to crumble. It's so loose. I know that if I don't summit north route, then this or worse is what the entire south route will be. Oh, but this screeing down will be awesome. Oh, anyway. It's about 5 a.m. We're going for about an hour. You can see a couple lights starting to flicker down at base camp. Whew. Now the goal is get to the glacier the same time everyone else does. Alright, cheers. It's like 5:30 a.m. I'm at like 15,000 feet, so pretty much right at camp 1. And it's freezing. It's so cold. I don't have a thermometer with me, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably around 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I was down in the small hut getting ready, and accidentally spilled some water on the concrete floor, and you could watch it freeze within a couple seconds, like solid. So it's dang cold. It got even colder as I got higher. So I'm hoping the sun coming up, in an hour or two will bring some heat along with its light. But it's super pretty. You can see. I doubt you can see anything in the camera, but there's a ton of cities visible from here. It's crazy, and I'm pretty sure I can see the Gulf of Mexico, which is super cool. I did not think I'd be able to see that, because Pico de Orizaba is not particularly close to either the Gulf or the Pacific side of Mexico. So, man, that's just cool. You can see just that giant clump of lights. I'm pretty sure that's Veracruz, right on the Gulf. So, that's super cool. Still haven't seen anyone catch up with me, so I stopped to put on another layer and take a drink to acclimatize and all that good stuff. But hopefully no one will pass me in, blazing speed before the glacier, because if anyone has a way up this thing, I want to see it. But my guess is no one's going to summit today. The really hope someone proves me wrong, because I would love to summit the north side. Once I'm up there, then, you know, I don't know if I would want to down climb or rappel the glacier. I think if I summit north side, I'm going to scree down the south side and then pay a taxi to get me from Ciudad Sudan to Tlachuca, see if they'll drive me back up to get the rest of my stuff. But, okay, I gotta get moving again because it's freezing. Cheers. I just crested the ridge to Camp 2 on Orizaba. I want to show you this amazing sunrise. Oh my gosh, colors, beautiful. Hey, this is Patrick O'Leary.
How's it going? What's the crack, lads?
Irish climber, and Fernando,
De Samaniego, hi, good morning.
epic ultra runner who's done the Trail du Mont Blanc
3 times the mad best.
3 times. And here's the most beautiful of all of us, the sunrise. We're at Camp 2 up on Pico de Orizaba.
Yeah.
Cheers. Hey, it's Scott and Jorge.
Hey, what's up?
We're probably close to 16,000 feet on Pico de Orizaba. Look at that beautiful cloud there. Almost to the foot of the glacier. And we'll see how the ice conditions are. Cheers. Hey, here at High Camp, or Camp 3 in Pico de Orizaba. This is one cool spot. And met up with a group of 2 ultra runners, 2 more technical hikers, alpinists. It seems the sort of head of this group has done Orizaba once before, but it was like 17 years ago. So, referring to his judgment, we'll see how the ice is. This is the glacier. You can see it's receding terribly. The problem with a glacier receding is the bottom is what's receding, so as the bottom recedes it gets steeper. So bad ice, steeper than before in years past. Who knows? We'll give it a shot. Cheers. This is the team up on as far as we'll get on Orizaba. The ice, as you can see by the reflection, is just too hard.
Ice, baby.
Very, very hard ice. If you fall, very risky. It's doable up here, but as soon as you get to that head wall, it's, man, that's deadly. So probably no summit via this route, maybe south route. Decision to make. My crampons are sharp and my axe is good. I can make it to that head wall. The question is, can I make it past that head wall safely alone? And my guess is no. I'll most likely get to that head wall and have to turn around. So I can either go for it now and I lose an entire day, or if I head back right now with this team and I get to the base at the same time as them, then they said they'll give me a ride to Tlachuca today. So that'll save me an entire day, and I could hopefully get to the south route and have a, you know, better chance of a summit. So I think that's what I'll do. I don't think I want to risk my life on that head wall. The ice is too hard, and there's no self-arrest if you slip, and I do not have any self-belay equipment. I only have equipment for 2 people or more, so I think I'll turn around and be safe and summit via the south route. Okay, cheers! Here are the ice conditions right now on the glacier. Extremely hard ice. Our crampons are sharp enough to get in, but this is not on the steepest spot. And here is the axe. It does not go in far enough for a vertical attempt. If I had people willing and with harnesses willing to do 2-person belay, I could maybe do that head wall, but it's risky. I think I'll take my day and go do the south route. Thank you, Andy Crayon, for your crampons. You can hardly talk at 16,000 feet. Glad I'm not using mine. These ones are way sharper, but looks like south route it is. So, cheers. So, this is what the climate changing has done to our mountain. This ice hasn't been exposed for, who knows, millennia, and the glacier is receding so terribly. Where I'm standing right now used to have, hundreds of feet of solid ice, and now it's dirt and rocks. But anyway, it's time to summit Southside. Cheers.
Come on, we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, left. Come on, G.
Nice.
Oh, fuck yeah! Right on, Billy!
Hola, buenos días. I'm on south side of Orizaba, and I got a ride down with that team, and then they helped me coordinate a ride to the south side, which is a little bit long. It's like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive with a lot of bumpy roads. And the schedule is tight now, so I'm not going to be able to go back to Tlachuchuca before I go back to Mexico City. So I have everything that I have with me in Mexico on me right now as I'm hiking up to Refugio Fausto González Gomar, the hut at the south side. I'm at about 14,700 feet right now, and hopefully only a couple hundred more feet to the refuge. I'm hoping that I didn't declimatize when I was in Tlachuchuca for a day. I doubt it, but I was just driven up to almost 15,000 feet and now have to hike. So I'm hoping I don't get altitude sick for gaining like almost 10,000 feet in a day, in a couple hours. But we'll see. They're picking me up tomorrow in the afternoon at 1. I go back to Ciudad Cerdán and have a bus to Mexico City. And then New Year, tomorrow evening in Mexico City. Fiesta! Okay. Ciao. I at base camp. That orange thing up there is the hut, Refugio Fausto González Gomar. Here is my camp spot. Nice flat platform. There are my bags. I'm going to set up the tent pretty soon. But I figured I'd also show you, anyone who's not familiar with volcanoes, kind of why they're so terrible. They fall apart so easily. They're made of this kind of pumice, what's called pumice lava rock. It's really porous and lightweight. And when you drop it, you can hear how light it is. It has this hollow clinking sound. And yeah, it makes for a mountain that just falls apart really easily. And the entire mountain to the core is just, you know, very unstable, sandy rock. So the whole way up the south side is going to be, you know, sand and loose rock, screase log. I think I'm still going to take the rope up in the screws to see if I can find some good ice on the summit. Yeah, this is my base camp at about 15,400 feet on the south side, and up is going to be near vertical. Got, you know, over 3,000 vertical feet to the summit, and it's all very steep up. So that's for tomorrow. I'm gonna set up home sweet home now. Cheers. Hola! Got my base camp set up. A nice chair. Got a more or less windproof base camp tent set up. And beautiful view of the Sierra Negra. What do you do when you have a 4,000 meter flat top easy slope mountain with an 18,000 foot peak next to it? You build a road up to the top and build a radio tower, because no one wants to climb the smaller one. Still a beautiful view though. The clouds coming out of the valley. They have a lot of fires down there too. They have small fires that they just kind of let go, and they happen so frequently that, you know, the wilderness never becomes a tinderbox like our Rocky Mountains does. So you don't have these gigantic wildfires. They just have these tiny little ones here and there every once in a while. Doesn't really bother anyone. Such a different world, different lifestyle. Anyway, muy bueno, mi casa. Ciao. Hey, there it is. Radio tower atop Sierra Negra. Giant 100-foot tall satellite dish. Anyway, here at the Fosco Gonzalez hut, you can hear the big rock fall up on the mountain. I guess the standard was in November do the north route and take screws and sharp crampons. Don't do the south route because of rockfall. Now come December they're saying, even though there's rockfall and pumice, loose pumice and all that, it sounds like south route is safer, because north route is basically impossible now unless you have two very experienced people and like 25 ice screws and preferably like a 120 meter rope. But south route it is, just have to wear a helmet and, you know, keep your eyes out. Aight, ciao. Bicicleta di montagna di Orizaba. I'm in a acclimatization hike at almost 16,000 feet. Figure the higher I get today, the easier tomorrow will be. The quicker I'll get down to the tent to pack up. So, summit tomorrow. Today is day 4 on the mountain. Tomorrow, summit day, will be day 5 in summit. Hey, ciao. Hey, at the high point of today's acclimatization hike, over 16,000 feet on Orizaba South. Most stunning cloud layer. Goodness gracious. What scenery. This amazing ridge right here. All of this jagged lava rock. Can almost see it being formed so violently in some eruption back in 1600 or whatever it was. Still above, can hear rocks falling. Oh, what amazing scenery. Anyway, it's about 3:30 p.m. on day 4. I'm gonna head down back to my base camp at 15:3, something like that. And I can tell if I were to keep going up and summit right now, which is interesting because I mean I have enough time. Theoretically, if it were just a train, I could do it today, but I can tell just by the feeling in my head, if I were to keep going right now, I would get very sick and throw up and, need to descend quickly. So, I think that's because I slept at, 7,000 feet last night. And now I'm at 16,000. It's almost 10,000 foot ascent over less than a full day. So, I think I'll go down and have dinner. Hey, how's it going? Just ran into the craziest thing just happened. Ran into some people who spoke perfect English. Turns out they were from Seattle and they were with 2 people who were from Colorado. So they mentioned they were up on the ridge over there. And so I'm hiking down and I can hear their conversation because the sound travels so well. And so I'm like, hey, Coloradans! And had a conversation with them from here. So they came down here and visited my tent, and one was from Boulder, one's from Golden, and they wanted to siege the north route as well, and ended up just doing south, just like me. But they never actually got around to getting to the north route. So they saw my screws and my rope and everything, and I told them I was probably gonna summit tomorrow this route and then go down to the glacier, put some screws in, build an anchor, and wrap down a bit to see how the conditions are up high on the glacier. And they're like, well, we'll bring our tools, we'll join you. So now we're gonna have some big little ice climbing extravaganza on the side of Orizaba. A bunch of Coloradans on the side of on this dying glacier, and so I'm thinking next year, come December, 1 year from right now, if someone wants to join me, this guy looks like he really does. I'm thinking of acquiring a really long rope, like something over 100 meters, and probably 8 more ice screws and some screamers, and just making one big siege on the Yampa Glacier. One last hurrah before this glacier is gone forever. Give it a proper send-off, a proper ascent. So it's going to be quite the ice climb, because it's no longer a slope anymore. It used to be Orizaba used to be a giant slope of consolidated snow on the Yamapa Glacier, but now it's like a carcass. It's dying. It's hollowing out from the inside, and now it's almost like a plate and a head wall. And that head wall is way more than 45 degrees, I think. Super steep, so you need to have a lot of screws and shock absorbers and everything, and belay each other like a proper, just giant multi-pitch ice climb for like 2,000 feet. So that sounds like a blast to me. I honestly can't wait to do that. Of course, not set in stone, but stoked to do that. It's really sad the Yamapa Glacier is leaving. There was a geologist that was up here taking photos and samples and recording things, because the glacier is going to be gone forever pretty soon. He's been doing that. He's been going around to a number of glaciers at big mountains all over the world and recording glaciers as they're dying, and mountains that used to be heavily glaciated winter peaks are now dry and bare. So yeah, that's what's happening here. The Yamapa is dying, and if it lasts one more year, I think it will. And if the ice is good by one more year, then one final giant siege on the north wall, the head wall of the Yamapa. Looking forward to that. Man, all these expeditions, it's always about who you spend them with, way more than the mountain itself. Anyway, I'm just kicking it here in base camp. Got my little speaker, playing some music. About to have dinner. There's my stove. Here's what's for dinner. Pow. Pesto pasta with salmon. This is the deluxe night. This was most backpackers' pantries are like $7 to $9 a meal. This one's like 15. I figured I'd get one really nice one as a morale booster, or for a celebration. In this case, celebrating the summit, because summiting tomorrow with a bunch of cool Coloradans and gonna do some ice climbing, and I'm stoked. Turned into an awesome little adventure. There's a ton of cool people on this side of the mountain. But yeah, so I'm gonna have some tea, have some salmon, and play some music and get to bed real early so I can have a full day of climbing tomorrow. Cheers! Ciao! I just finished dinner. It just got dark. There's a beautiful sunset. Oh my gosh, it's just been blowing my mind for the last hour. And the moon is so bright. Oh, I wish I could capture it better in the camera, but it's lighting everything up. I can see the landscape so well. And here is my camp. It's almost time to go to bed, so I'm gonna pack up all of the food things and get in my sleeping bag where it's warm, unlike out here now. And it's time to go inside when the battery on your speaker freezes, when all the electronics start freezing up. It means it's time to go inside and warm up. Okay, so apparently I'm getting up at 1 or 2, because everyone on this side seems to be under the impression that it takes a long time. I seriously don't think it'll take more than 5-hour round trip. But all the guides have been telling people, oh yeah, it's a 12-hour round trip. So everyone's leaving at midnight and 1 a.m. And I think they'll be back at their tents before light comes. So anyway, I guess I'm going with all of them, because that means I should get to bed right now. But yeah, I have no idea what they're thinking. There's no way this will take 12 hours. It's barely over 1 mile distance and 3,000 feet of vertical gain. So it's just steep and loose. That's it. We're barely covering any ground. So, I mean, on the north side, one of our longest days, I think our longest day was from the hut up and back to the hut round trip was 6.5 hours. And we went from 14,000 feet to like 16,800 and back down on way more technical terrain with less acclimatization. That was 6.5 hours. There's no way that this will take, twice as long for half the distance on easier terrain with more acclimatization. So, but anyway, I guess I'm getting up at 1. Alright, it's time for me to go to bed and stop complaining about the schedule. Alright, ciao! Hey, so, it's like 1:30 a.m. I got up, not of my own accord, my body did that. Felt the first little tinge onset of nausea from elevation. So I was like, nope, not gonna let that happen on my, my summit day. So altitude sickness is something that you don't wait on. Altitude sickness is something that you immediately treat. And the number one cure is immediate descent. No matter where you are, if you get nausea, you can have a headache, you can be slowed down, you can feel fatigued all you want, but as soon as you get nausea, that's your body telling you, get down. You're too high. And if you stay at the same elevation or if you go higher, it's just going to keep sending you the same message until you get it and descend. So, got up at 1:30. I felt just a little tinge of that, and I was not okay with that. So, got up, put on all my layers, started descending. I've descended about 800 feet now, vertical feet, and ran into the Coloradans who were getting up. And they had some Diamox, whatever the heck it's called. It's this drug that helps you acclimatize quickly, helps treat nausea and headache, and apparently it makes your fingers tingly and has some other side effects. They had said they had never experienced that, same with everyone else who was there, so decided I'd take one of those and just give it a shot. So thank you, Coloradans, for that. And yeah, I think I'm going to descend down to maybe 14.5, drink a little bit more water, a little bit more Gatorade for electrolytes, and go back up, probably sit in the sleeping bag to warm up for like 30 minutes, and then start climbing this mountain as long as I still don't feel nauseous. I'm thinking my cutoff time for me to no longer have altitude sickness in order to start climbing this mountain is 8 a.m. That's the latest that I can start this mountain realistically to summit and get back down with enough time to pack up everything, break down base camp, and get to my ride. So I've got a little bit of time. I'm just gonna make sure that this declimatize hike thing works, so I'm going lower. Alright, cheers. It's a little past 6 a.m. and the sun is just starting to come up. Those beautiful colors. Seeing a sunset from on top of the world like this is so cool. I'm at just over 17,000 feet on day 5. Summit attempt, south route. You can see lights up ahead of us. And they're so high up, it seriously looks like they're stars and not even people. But Whew. Goodness gracious. I'm not feeling the headache or nausea yet, just the inevitable slow and the difficulty speaking and lightheadedness. Hopefully I won't get nauseous before the summit. Might catch up with these Coloradans. Okay. It's about to get really pretty, so I'll probably update again before the summit. Cheers. Hey. Sun's up. It's beautiful. Casting light over all the features. And the coolest part is you can see the mountain's shadow all the way over Mexico. And if you look real close, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but just to the left of that shadow is 3 other enormous stratovolcanoes in Mexico. Itza, Popo, and Malinche, or however you say it. And they look tiny from here and way far below us. You know you're on a big mountain when 3 of the biggest volcanoes on Earth look tiny down below you. Oh man, my head's feeling it. I'm at about 17,500 feet. I gotta remind myself to eat and drink because I'm thankfully not feeling nauseous yet. Got quite a bit of a headache, but that can be solved with water and rest. So I'm gonna try to eat and drink in the endeavor of not getting nauseous. Only 1,000 feet of up more until the summit. Whew! It's 5 days in the making. About dang time. About to enter the pulpit. It's the steepest, most dangerous, hardest part of the whole climb. Where you exit the ridge, enter the pulpit. It's just super steep and loose. Alright, cheers, ciao. Ahí in the pulpit. Looks like I caught up with the Coloradans and the Mexican team. Only a couple hundred more feet to the rim, and then it's a walk to the summit. Cheers, ciao. It's 8 a.m. and I'm at 18,166 feet. Why is this mountain so high? So, thought I was hallucinating this, but then I remembered I read about this. It's a giant pile of airplane wreckage. Wires and... seems pretty real. I'm really high. And not in the Colorado way. I'm at 14. No. Not in Colorado anymore. Lucy. Or whatever that Wizard of Oz girl name is. We're at 18,300 feet. That satellite dish over there is at like 15,500 feet. I'm really high. Well, summit push. Woo! Holy crap. Why isn't there wind? I'm at 18,500 feet in the sky. Why isn't the air moving? Ah! Wow! Look at that crater. Ugh. Wouldn't it suck if it erupted right now? Oh man. Woo! Woo! Pico de Orizaba! Orizaba! 5 days. This is it. That was Mount Doom if I ever saw one. Well, Scott Greshel, I don't even know how to say it. It's high in the air right now. Told me to climb this pile of metal junk. I've climbed the pile of metal junk. Hey, looks like I was the first to summit out of the big summit group. So I'm waiting for everyone else to get up here. There's one close. Air is thin. I'm gonna eat stuff. This is the summit block. Yeah, Colorado!
Yeah. Oh my god.
Ow! Orizaba! Good job, dude.
Nice job.
Look at that crater.
Fuck, that is so cool.
Aye. So, trekking out here onto the glacier from the summit. Just hung out on the summit for like at least an hour and a half. Just chilling and talking. Now we're gonna go down and see how the ice conditions are, and honestly, it's pretty astonishing. The snow is very good up here. It looks like it must be just down below, and as soon as it falls into shadow, that it turns into just that glass-like diamond hard ice. So thinking we'll walk around to that and then see if we can get an ice screw in and make an anchor, wrap down the full length of my rope, so 200 feet, and see how the ice is way down on the head wall. And who knows, I mean, it's a long shot, but best case scenario, we end up deciding to do a siege of the North Wall next year. We'll see. Cheers! Man, this is crazy. The ice is not bad up here. And honestly, I mean, I can see the Piedra Grande hut, the North Route hut. I can see where we got, like as far as we got to with the other team. And I'm starting to wonder if I could have made it. I honestly think if the ice were like this all the way up, I think I could have made it. That said, I summited Orizaba, and I'm alive. Whether or not I would have summited this ice then, I can't know for sure. And I made the safe decision. And I still summited this mountain. So I'm not too, brokenhearted about it, but I kind of want to go down this glacier and come right back up. Put in some screws, and yeah, this is looking not too bad compared to what it was like before. Yeah, I'm hoping the ice is hard enough for a good screw anchor. We'll see. Whew! Well, here it is. I got the sun of this thing twice. I think that's just because the sun was warming it up. If we had waited longer, we probably could have done it that first time. I'm on my way back up. I just went down to where I was before. Oh, let me get this out of my mouth. Just went down to where I was before, where we turned around on the way up that north route. Now I'm going to go all the way back up to the summit via the glacier. I'm doing this the way I came here to do it. I got to summit this thing twice. Whew. I got some good ice. Woo! Yeah! Okay. That was harder than the south route. Goodness gracious, what a slope. That head wall. And you can't rest because if you stop, you're still front pointed into the glacier with your calves doing all the work. It's just this giant bear crawl up this giant ice face. Oh my gosh. Man, to do this mountain from both sides, can't believe I got that lucky. Wow. Turns out Orizaba North Route is doable. You just have to wait until it's later in the day. And the sun warms up the ice and you can actually pick into it. Whew. And when the head wall isn't in shadow. So heads up to anyone who's doing Orizaba North Route. Don't leave at midnight. Leave at like 7 in the morning, so by the time you get up to the glacier, it's warm, the sun is on it, and you can pick all the way up, but it's strenuous. Oh my gosh, it's strenuous as heck. Whew, enjoy! So many penitentes. The only way to descend a volcano. Skiing. Skiing on scree. So on the bus back now to Mexico City. Absolutely crazy that the ice was in such good condition for us to be able to go down and like re-summit via the north route. It's crazy that the only reason that no one's been summiting the north side is because they're responsible. They're just getting up there early. If they just waited until, noon when the sun is on the ice, they would have been able to summit. It's such a crazy concept that this whole time it's just that the only ice they're seeing is the morning ice. So that was super cool to be able to summit. I guess now really no need to do a big siege of the north wall next year because we just did. back on the summit for the second time and needed to like book it down. And we were skiing, which is basically skiing on screen with your boots. It's super fast. You average about 100 vertical feet per minute. So it was about 35 minutes from the summit down to the hut. And when I got there, basically there was just a dude standing at my tent saying like, hey, your ride is here 30 minutes early and he's going to leave without you. So I had to, my summit team helped me. They helped pack up all my stuff and like run down the mountain. So got my ride. They dropped me off at a bus station in Ciudad Cerdán with all my stuff in shambles, not in bags, just in the bus station. So I got my ticket, and then for the next hour and a half, I'm, trying to repack everything inside of this bus station. Well, less than an hour ago, I was still running down this mountain, so I'm super sore and dirty and all this. So just a crazy sequence of events. On this 4-hour bus back to Mexico City. All the hostels were taken because it's New Year's Eve. I hadn't thought of that, so I had to pay a little extra to get a room in the one I wanted. It's just been an insane day. Climbing with the Colorado crew and summiting from both sides, like finishing my north summit. I can't believe I finished my north summit. That's crazy to me. Without screws, no less. Honestly, like it would have been dangerous to use screws because the ice was so soft. It was way more beneficial to just use crampons and an axe. It's just such an insane trip to look back on. Definitely feel terrible for the Yamapa Glacier that it's dying like this. But shout out to anyone who's looking to ice climb. If you want a killer big wall ice climb, go to the Yamapa in the morning. If you want to summit the normal way, go to the Yamapa in the afternoon. But oh my gosh, this has been such an insane adventure, and I've learned so much about myself and about climbing and why I love it. And it really is about the people that you do it with. Like for 5 days, I was on a terrible volcano, and I had the time of my life because I was with amazing people. I was meeting awesome people constantly and climbing with amazing people and learning cool things. And these two people from Colorado that live in Golden and Boulder, who I'm gonna start climbing with a bunch. And like, oh my gosh, it's just been better than I could have imagined it. And honestly, like, I mean, this trip from the beginning through to the end of planning, this trip did everything in its power to make it miserable. But, by my willing it to be a good experience, I had the time of my life. And I summited this mountain, I succeeded, I met a bunch of awesome people, just by deciding that, you know what, I'm not going to let this sequence of terrible events, the entire team ditching, and like all this stuff, I'm not going to let that destroy this experience. I'm going to make this good, and it was amazing. I think this was my favorite mountaineering experience that I've ever had so far. So anyway, heart is full, super happy, just stoked on life right now. I remember just sitting outside my tent last night, listening to music, eating my salmon, and hanging out with these two wonderful Mexican kids on the side of Pico de Orizaba at 15,500 feet. And we're just watching this beautiful sunset and dancing to music, and like, oh my gosh, I was just like, my heart could not be happier than right but you know, in the most beautiful surroundings, looking down on the cloud layer from this mountain, this like stratospheric sunset, if that's even a word, and you know, it's just high on life. It was wonderful. It was the best trip. Anyway, this is me signing out. Props to you if you watched all these long ramblings of mine. Cheers and ciao. So I'm leaving Mexico now. It's pretty sweet. Looks like I actually got to tack on the whole tourist experience on the end of it too. Had enough time to see a bunch of museums and monuments and tour and all that. So, dope trip.